lots of pressure, of course, because of the Euros. And it might even be that if people are driving in, say, from the west of England to get to the Channel ports in order to sail across to northern France and then make the 10-hour drive to Berlin, that they would get caught up in this as well. So a messy old situation, but one which National Highways says is necessary.
A stretch of the UK's busiest motorway, the M25, is closed for the third weekend this year as pre-planned work is carried out. We're also getting warnings of train cancellations tomorrow with fewer staff available to work overtime. Can't imagine what reason that would be. Let's speak to Simon Calder, the Independent's travel correspondent. Morning, Simon.
Good morning.
Let's begin with the M25 then. So it's just one section that is closed, but it's presumably going to have quite an impact.
Oh, it certainly is. This is the section between junctions 10 and 11, southwest of London. It's actually the busiest junction on the whole of the M25, junction 10, and that's what these works are concerned with. It's part of a £300 million project to just make the junction more efficient and safer, and also to do various other bits of work. So this is, as you say, the third closure. We've got another couple coming up this year, but it's an interesting weekend because when they first did this, you might remember that I was perched outside, I think, Waitrose in West Byfleet, which was due to be the epicenter of chaos because it was right in the middle of the very long and complicated 10-mile diversion route for this 5-mile stretch. And actually, things didn't go too badly. This time around, National Highways is saying, please avoid the area, but if you are going to be driving from around the M25 and you're going to be signposted on the diversion route, then stick to the signposts, because the fear is that your sat nav might come up with some clever ideas of its own, and that would cause a bit of gridlock as well. Difficult to tell. Lots of pressure, of course, because of the Euros, and it might even be that if people are driving in, say, from the west of England to get to the Channel ports in order to sail across to northern France and then make the 10-hour drive to Berlin, that they would get caught up in this as well. So a messy old situation, but one which National Highways says is necessary. Of course, last time round, lots of people seem to take their advice of staying at home and redecorating the bathroom. But I'm not sure if that's going to work this time around.
No, indeed. And let's turn our attention to trains because, I mean, there's a small matter of a football match, as you mentioned, on Sunday, and that could impact trains.
It definitely will impact trains. We know that for a fact. And we already have from northern trains something saying do not travel on 6 lines, mostly in and out of Manchester, Piccadilly and Victoria Station. And they are saying that because they're not going to have any trains, any rail replacement buses. And that's because a lot of staff, for them, working on a Sunday is entirely optional. And if they choose not to, it's their perfectly reasonable right not to show up. Down in the southwest of England, GWR says, yep, we have got high levels of sickness and fewer people than normal expected to work overtime. So they are saying on all our branch lines, it could be that those trains just don't run at all. And even on the core line from London to Bristol Temple Meads, that might be reduced to 1 train every 2 hours. It's going to be very messy. And in Scotland, which forgive me, you need to check with Callum, but I think technically isn't in the Euros still. They have actually moved they've moved to a temporary timetable because of a dispute involving the ASLEF union, and that's not just tomorrow for the Euros. It's kind of semi-permanent until they solve this dispute again, because there is such a reliance on overtime. And ScotRail says that this is actually a UK-wide problem, and that many train operators can't operate a normal service unless people are prepared to come in on their days off, which of course is entirely up to them.
I find it fascinating that GWR know already that people are going to be sick on Sunday. It's like booking in a sick day, isn't it? That's quite a thing. Let's talk as well about getting to Berlin, because people are going to be still trying to make their way. How easy, how realistic is that going to be if people do want to try and get there to watch England on Sunday night?
Well, as soon as Ollie Watkins' goal went in the 90th minute, people very clearly started booking immediately, and all the direct flights went within a few hours at very high prices. And then on Thursday, Ryanair actually came in and said, "Oh, we laid on some extra flights." Those went within 4 hours. And now, if you check on the various fares websites, you will be suggested routes that go from Manchester or Gatwick to somewhere in Turkey, because of course lots of holiday flights going out there, and then coming back, as many links into Berlin. So I'm just checking, going out from Gatwick this morning, noon flight, you would go out to Antalya and then come back to Berlin, get there late tonight. Or from Manchester, you could fly out to Dalaman, and then you'll be coming overnight into Berlin. So it's very expensive as well, about £700-800 for those options, including return trips, which will be via places like Nice and Palma de Mallorca. So at this stage, I think quite a lot of people will think, well, we will just drive, and there's plenty of room on the ferries and on Eurotunnel getting across to northern France. Then it's just a matter of that 10-hour drive. When you get there, a fantastic atmosphere. I've been traveling in Germany this week, and the fan zones, there's a couple of them right in the center of Berlin, one at the Reichstag and the other one at the Brandenburg Gate. So it's going to be a wonderful occasion to be there, even if you haven't got a ticket. And that the interesting thing, I think, is that actually hotels haven't sold out.
Really?
Berlin is a really important political, business, convention city, and there's still, everything in the city centres either sold out or it's going to cost you €500. But if you go 10 miles out to one of the suburbs, and of course you've got very, very good public transport, it will be €100 or something. So just sort of fairly normal prices.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Simon. Good to speak to you as ever. That's Simon Calder, the Independent's travel correspondent.